Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today, we're diving into one of the most surprising and sought-after coins in modern American numismatics, the 1970 D Washington Quarter Dollar. This seemingly ordinary coin has made headlines for being worth thousands of dollars under the right conditions. So grab your coin jars, because you might just have a hidden treasure sitting right at home. Let's start with the basics. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It quickly became a permanent fixture in American currency. By the time the 1970s rolled around, the design was well known and widely circulated across the country. Now in 1970, the Denver Mint produced over 417 million quarters. That's right, over 417 million coins. With such a high mintage, most people assume there's nothing special about the 1970 D quarter. But the truth is, a few rare varieties and errors have turned this coin into a legend in the world of coin collecting. One of the most famous examples is the 1970 D quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter. Yes, you heard that correctly. Somehow, a blank from a 1941 Canadian coin ended up in the presses at the Denver Mint and was stamped with the Washington Quarter design. The result? A spectacular mint error that sold for over $35,000 at auction. That's more than 1,000 times its face value, but it's not just this one error coin that's valuable. Let's talk about condition and grading. If you happen to find a 1970 D quarter in your change, check its condition carefully. Coins that are uncirculated or in mint state can fetch much higher prices. For example, a 1970 D quarter graded MS-67 by the Professional Coin Grading Service has been known to sell for over $300. Even in slightly lower grades like MS-66, the coin can still be worth $50 to $100 or more. The real money, though, comes from coins with special characteristics, like deep cameo finishes, double dies, off-center strikes, and other rare mint errors. Always examine your quarters under a magnifying glass or microscope. Look for doubled letters in the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Check for signs of the coin being struck on the wrong planchet or having unusual coloring or edge errors. Let's take a moment to talk about why collectors are willing to pay so much for these rare versions of a coin that millions of people used every day. The answer is rarity and demand. As more people enter the hobby and learn about these rare coins, the market demand increases. Meanwhile, the supply of high-grade and error coins remains incredibly low. That's a recipe for serious value growth over time. If you're looking to sell a 1970 D quarter, it's essential to get it graded by a trusted third-party grading company like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can greatly increase the coin's value and make it more attractive to serious buyers and collectors. Now let's take a quick look at the current market. As of this year, a 1970 D quarter in average circulated condition is still worth only face value, 25 cents. But uncirculated examples start around $10 to $15 and can quickly rise into the hundreds for coins with high grades or unique errors. The absolute record for a 1970 D Washington Quarter is still held by that Canadian planchet error, which remains one of the most fascinating mistakes in modern minting history. So, what can you take away from this? First, don't overlook the small change in your pockets or coin jars. Always inspect your quarters, especially those from the 1970s. Second, consider investing in a good magnifying glass or digital coin microscope. These tools can help you spot doubling, die cracks, and other small but valuable errors. Finally, educate yourself. The more you know about coins and the minting process, the better your chances of spotting a rare and valuable treasure. We're diving deep into one of the most overlooked yet potentially valuable coins in your pocket change. We're talking about the 1981 D Washington Quarter. You might think it's just another regular quarter, but some of these coins are worth way more than 25 cents. In fact, certain rare varieties and high-grade examples can fetch serious money in today's market. So let's explore the full history, rarity, and current value of the 1981 D Washington Quarter. Let's start with a little background. The Washington Quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932. Designed by John Flanagan, it was originally intended to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design proved so popular it remained unchanged for decades. By 1981, this familiar image of Washington was still gracing the obverse, while the reverse featured the iconic eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below. Now let's focus on the 1981 D Washington quarter specifically. The D Mint mark indicates it was struck at the Denver Mint. That year, the Denver Mint produced over 575 million Washington quarters. With so many minted, you might be wondering how any of them could be valuable. The key lies in condition, rarity, and striking errors. In circulated condition, most 1981 D quarters are worth face value. They're common in pocket change and often show wear on Washington's hair and on the high points of the eagle's wings. But here's where it gets interesting. In uncirculated condition, especially those graded mint state 65 and above, their value begins to climb significantly. Let's talk grading for a second. A coin's grade refers to its condition on a scale from 1 to 70. Coins graded MS65 or higher are considered gem quality. An MS67 1981 D Washington quarter can be worth between $50 and $100 or more, depending on demand and eye appeal. And coins that hit the rare MS68 grade can bring in several $100s at auction. These are extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. Now, there's more. You also have to consider varieties and errors. Some 1981 D quarters were struck with off-center designs, doubled dies, or struck through grease or other materials. These mint errors can dramatically increase a coin's value. For example, an off-center 1981 D quarter with a clear date and mint mark might fetch anywhere from $50 to $200, depending on the severity of the error and its condition. There's also a niche market for coins struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine finding a 1981 D quarter struck on a 5-cent or 1-cent blank. These types of errors are extremely rare but have been known to occur. If authenticated by a third-party grading company like PCGS or NGC, such a coin could sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let's not forget proof coins. Although no 1981 D proof quarters were made, the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins that year. However, if you somehow stumble upon a 1981 D quarter with mirror-like fields and frosted devices, be cautious. It may have been altered after minting or artificially enhanced. Always get such coins authenticated before making any assumptions about value. Back to market value. As of now, most average circulated 1981 D Washington quarters remain worth face value. But if you come across an uncirculated roll or a high-grade slabbed coin from a reputable grader, it's a whole different story. MS66 coins routinely sell for $20 to $40, and MS67 examples have reached auction prices of over $100. What makes the 1981 D interesting for collectors is the fact that it's not part of a silver series. All Washington quarters from 1965 onwards, with the exception of some special issues, are made of copper-nickel clad. That means they're not silver and have no intrinsic metal value. So what you're paying for is numismatic value, not melt value. So what should you look for in your own collection or pocket change? First, check for sharp detail. If you find a coin with little to no wear, that's a good start. Next, inspect the surfaces for luster and any signs of mint errors. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to look closely at the date, mint mark, and design elements for doubling or other irregularities. Also, consider submitting promising coins for grading. A graded coin carries much more credibility and can fetch significantly higher prices at auction or in private sales. Grading costs can vary, so make sure the coin's potential value justifies the expense. To wrap things up, the 1981 D Washington quarter may seem like an ordinary coin, but in the right condition or with the right error, it could be worth a lot of money. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, it pays to know what to look for. Keep checking your change, sort through those old jars, and you just might strike silver, or in this case, clad gold. We're diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern US coins that could still be hiding in your change. That's right, we're talking about the 1982 P Washington quarter. You might think it's just another coin, but this little piece of metal could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its condition and some special characteristics. So if you've got a jar of old coins lying around, you'll want to watch this video all the way through. Let's unlock the mystery behind the 1982 P quarter and find out how much it's really worth in today's market. Let's take a quick step back in time. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932. It was introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. But the 1982 P quarter stands out for a few unusual reasons. First, the year 1982 marked a turning point for U.S. coin production. The U.S. Mint was cutting costs and made a bold decision: they stopped producing uncirculated mint sets for that year. That means collectors had fewer chances to grab pristine coins right from the mint. Most 1982 quarters, especially from the Philadelphia Mint, were released straight into circulation. So what's the deal with the P on the coin? That mint mark stands for Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia coins didn't always have a mint mark, but starting in 1980, the P became a standard feature on quarters. That's a big deal for collectors, because the 1982 P quarter was only the third year it officially showed up. Now here's where things get interesting. Most 1982 P quarters were struck on worn dies and quickly pushed into circulation. The result? A lot of them have weak details, especially on the high points like Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. So, a well-struck coin from this year is actually quite rare, and worth more. Let's talk about the juicy part: the errors and varieties. This is where the money is. The most famous variety from 1982 is the no mint set condition and the major die breaks or cuts. These are when a piece of the die breaks off and leaves a blob of metal on the coin. Some of these cut errors can make a coin worth hundreds. Even more famous is the double die obverse variety, though it's incredibly rare. If you find one where the lettering or Washington's features look doubled, you might be holding a jackpot. Another one to look out for is an off-center strike. These errors can range from mild to extreme, and the more off-center they are, without losing the date, the more valuable they become. Next, let's talk condition. Coin collectors use a scale called the Sheldon scale, ranging from 1 to 70. A 1982 P quarter in circulated condition might only be worth face value, 25 cents. But in high mint state grades, like MS 65 or above, things change dramatically. An average circulated 1982 P quarter is common. But a gem quality coin graded MS 65 or MS 67? That's a different story. These coins can sell for anywhere from $100 to over $2,000 depending on demand and the presence of strong details or toning. So how much are these coins really selling for in today's market? Let's look at some recent auction results. In 2021, a 1982 P quarter graded MS 68 by PCGS sold for around $4,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right, $4,000 for a coin you might find in your pocket change. As of 2025, prices remain strong. Certified high-grade 1982 P quarters regularly sell for $300 to $1,200, depending on the grade, and I appeal. Even lower MS grades like MS 63 or MS 64 can fetch $30 to $100. And if you've got a known error variety, like a die break or off-center strike, you could be looking at even more. Here's what to do if you think you've got a valuable one. Step 1, look for a clear P mint mark above the date. Step 2, check the quality of the strike. Are Washington's curls crisp, or are they mushy? Step 3, flip it over. Is the eagle fully defined? Are there any signs of doubling or die breaks? And finally, if it looks promising, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. So what's the bottom line? The 1982 P Washington quarter is one of those modern coins that deserves more attention. It's not just a quarter, it's a snapshot of U.S. minting history, with a smaller than usual number of quality examples and a strong collector demand. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about your change jar, this coin is worth keeping an eye out for. Have you ever found a 1982 P quarter in your pocket change? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more coin collecting secrets and money-making tips. We're diving into the fascinating world of the 1988 D Washington $quarter coin, a piece of change that you might just have sitting in your pocket or collection that could actually be worth a surprising amount of money. Now you might be wondering what's so special about the 1988 D Washington quarter. After all, it's not that old, right? Well, that's exactly why this coin is so interesting. It's a relatively modern coin, minted in large numbers, but some of these coins have rare features that make them extremely valuable in today's collector market. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932. It was introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, and it's been in production ever since. The obverse or front of the coin features a profile portrait of Washington designed by John Flanagan, while the reverse from 1932 to 1998 shows an eagle with outstretched wings standing on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath it. Now, when it comes to the 1988 D Washington quarter, the D mint mark means it was minted at the Denver Mint in that year. Over 596 million of these quarters were struck, making it a very common coin in circulation. But here's where it gets exciting. Not all 1988 D quarters are created equal. Some rare varieties and mint errors have been discovered, and that's where serious value lies. A regular 1988 D quarter in circulated condition is usually only worth its face value, 25 cents, but a high-grade example or a rare error coin can bring in serious money. Let's talk about the high-grade coins first. If you come across a 1988 D quarter in mint state or uncirculated condition, especially one that's been graded by a professional company like PCGS or NGC, you could be looking at a value ranging anywhere from $5 to $50 or more. Coins that grade MS65 or higher start to attract collector attention, and the price only goes up from there. Now listen to this: a 1988 D quarter that was graded MS67 by PCGS once sold for over $1,300. That's right, over $1,300 for a single quarter, and that's just for an exceptionally well-preserved coin with perfect surfaces, strong luster, and no visible marks. But the real jackpot comes from error coins. Error coins are mistakes made during the minting process, and they are rare by nature. Some 1988 D quarters have been found with off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double dies, and even struck on the wrong metal planchet. These can easily fetch anywhere from $50 to several $100s depending on the rarity and demand. One of the most valuable types of errors is the double die, where the design elements appear to be doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. A double die, obverse or reverse, can create a very dramatic visual effect, and collectors love them. If you find a strong double die on a 1988 D quarter, you could be holding a coin worth hundreds. Another rare error to look for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned in the press and only part of the design gets struck. If the date is still visible, collectors will pay a premium for it. A major off-center 1988 D quarter can sell for over $100 or more. And then we have planchet errors, which occur when a coin is struck on the wrong metal. These are extremely rare and often highly valuable. Some have been found struck on dime planchets or experimental blanks. If you suspect your 1988 D quarter feels too light or looks unusual, it's definitely worth having it examined by an expert. So what's the current market value in 2025 for a 1988 D Washington quarter? Let's break it down. In circulated condition, it's typically worth 25 cents to $1 depending on where. In uncirculated mint state condition, it can range from $5 to $50. Certified high-grade coins in MS67 and higher can sell for over $1,000. Major error coins such as strong double dies or dramatic off-center strikes can bring in $50 to $500 or more. Ultra-rare planchet errors or combinations of multiple errors can fetch prices well into the thousands. Now you might be asking, how do I know if my 1988 D quarter is valuable? Well, here are a few quick tips. First, check the coin's overall condition. Look for sharp detail, no scratches, and a strong luster. Second, use a magnifying glass to check for doubling, especially around the date and lettering. Third, weigh your coin. If it's much lighter or heavier than 5.67 grams, it might be a planchet error. And finally, consider submitting it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication and value certification. The bottom line is this: while most 1988 D Washington quarters are common and only worth face value, there are rare and high-grade examples that are worth real money. If you have rolls of old quarters or even just a change jar, take a few minutes to look through them. You never know what treasures you might find. We're diving deep into the world of coin collecting with a fascinating look at the 1994 P Washington quarter. This is more than just a 25-cent coin. It's a piece of American history that could be hiding in your pocket change right now, and it might be worth far more than its face value. So stay tuned until the end because you might just discover that you own one of these hidden treasures. Let's start with a little background. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of our first president, George Washington. It was originally intended as a one-year commemorative coin but became so popular that it stuck around and turned into the permanent design. Fast forward to 1994. That year, over 1.7 billion Washington quarters were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which is where the P Mint mark comes from. Now, because the mintage was so high, most 1994 P quarters are not considered rare. In circulated condition, you'll usually find them worth about their face value. But here's where things get interesting. The real value lies in the quality, the condition, and rare errors. Some of these coins, when found in uncirculated or mint state condition, can fetch some serious cash. So what are collectors looking for in a 1994 P quarter? That's a great question. First and foremost, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. Most 1994 P quarters found in circulation grade somewhere between 20 and 40. However, if you happen to find a quarter graded MS65 or higher, now you're talking value. At that level, collectors will pay anywhere from $10 to $50 for a coin. And if it reaches MS67 or MS68, the price skyrockets. One example of a 1994 P Washington quarter graded MS68 sold for over $2,500 at auction. That's right. A 25-cent coin sold for more than $2,000. Why? Because of its pristine condition, sharp details, and brilliant luster. Only a handful of coins from that year exist at that high a grade, which makes them extremely desirable. But wait. That's not all. Error coins can be even more valuable. Some 1994 P quarters have been found with striking errors, die cracks, off-center strikes, or double dies. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die obverse, where the image or lettering appears doubled due to a minting mistake. These types of errors are rare but can increase the coin's value significantly. Depending on the severity and clarity of the doubling, these coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let's also not forget about full strike details. Collectors love coins that show all the intricate design elements, especially the hairlines on Washington's head and the feathers on the eagle. The sharper and more complete the details, the higher the value. These features are often lost in circulation, which is why uncirculated examples are so prized. Now let's talk current market value in 2025. As of now, standard circulated 1994 P quarters are still worth 25 cents. However, MS65 examples are consistently selling for $10 to $25. MS67 coins are commanding between $100 and $300. And the rare MS68 coins continue to hold strong at $2,000 and up when found at auction. Error coins, depending on rarity and demand, range from $50 to several $1,000s. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1994 P quarter? First, examine it carefully under a magnifying glass. Look for sharp detail, lack of wear, and possible doubling or striking errors. If it looks promising, consider having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Grading adds legitimacy and value to the coin, especially if you're looking to sell it, and if you're a new collector or just curious, now is a great time to start checking your change. The 1994 P quarter might be hiding in plain sight. You never know what you might find in that old coin jar or in your next handful of change. So there you have it. The 1994 P Washington quarter might seem common, but under the right circumstances, it can be worth big money. Whether it's a mint state beauty, a rare error, or just a fun discovery, this coin has earned its place in numismatic history. We are diving into a fascinating piece of American coinage history, the 1995 D Washington quarter dollar. A coin you've probably come across in your pocket change but might not realize could be worth a lot more than 25 cents. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, originally created to honor the 200th birthday of our first president, George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse of the coin features Washington's bust facing left, and the reverse carries the iconic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows. This design remained unchanged for decades, making any variation or mint error a potential gold mine for collectors. Now, fast forward to 1995. That year, the Denver Mint struck over 1.1 billion Washington quarters. Yes, you heard that right. Over a billion coins. So, at first glance, the 1995 D quarter might not seem rare at all. In fact, it's one of the most common dates of the entire Washington quarter series. But as every serious collector knows, rarity isn't just about how many were minted, it's about how many are still around in pristine condition or how many contain unique features. So what makes the 1995 D quarter so special? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about condition and grading. The vast majority of these coins went into circulation, meaning they were used in daily transactions and now show signs of wear and tear. However, coins that were never circulated and kept in near-perfect condition, especially those graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, can command serious premiums. At MS65, these coins are worth around $10 to $20, depending on demand. But once you jump to MS67, you're looking at over $100. And if you find an MS68 example, which is extremely rare, that value can soar to over $1,000. Yes, a 1995 D quarter in mint state 68 has sold for over $1,500 at auction. That's a lot of money for a modern quarter. Next, let's talk about errors and varieties. This is where things get even more interesting. Although the 1995 D quarter doesn't have as many famous errors as some earlier coins, there are still some valuable die varieties and mint errors to look for. Let's go through a few that could be sitting in your coin jar right now. Number 1, double die errors. While the Philadelphia version of the 1995 quarter is known for the famous double die obverse, the Denver minted coin has fewer documented cases. Still, there have been reported examples of machine doubling and light die clashes that can increase value. Always examine the lettering and date under magnification. Number 2, off-center strikes. These occur when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned during the minting process. A 1995 D quarter struck 10 to 20% off-center can fetch between $50 and $200, depending on how dramatic the error is and how much of the design remains visible. Number 3, clipped planchets. If part of the coin's edge looks like it's been bitten off, it might not be damage, it could be a valuable clipped planchet error. These can bring in $30 to $150, depending on severity. Number 4, struck through errors. Sometimes, a foreign object like a piece of cloth or metal shaving gets between the dies and the coin blank. This can create a unique, collectible impression on the coin and increase its value significantly. Now let's look at what's happening in today's market. The coin collecting community has seen a rise in interest in modern-era coins. More people are digging into their change and discovering that some coins from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s are worth far more than face value. On eBay and other auction platforms, circulated 1995 D quarters with mild wear generally sell for less than $1, but when it comes to uncirculated coins, especially those in brilliant mint state with sharp details and full luster, prices jump quickly. MS66 coins might sell for $40 to $60, and if you can get your hands on an MS67 or MS68 with good eye appeal, you could be looking at a solid return on investment. The record price for a 1995 D quarter is held by a specimen graded MS68 by PCGS, which sold for over $1,500 in a public auction. That kind of money for a coin you might find in your sock drawer is why collectors are taking a second look at their pocket change. So here's what you should do. First, check your loose change. Then, sort through any old quarter rolls you might have from the bank or storage. If you find a 1995 D, look for strong details in Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, and the sharpness of the rims. If it looks especially clean, with no visible wear and bright luster, it might be worth submitting for grading. Next, use a magnifier to inspect the coin closely. Look for any anomalies, doubled lettering, off-center strikes, unusual markings, or weak details. These are clues that your quarter could be something special. Finally, if you believe you found something unique, get it authenticated and graded by a trusted third-party service like PCGS or NGC. Their certification adds credibility and can significantly boost the coin's market value. To wrap it all up, the 1995 D Washington quarter might seem common, but hidden among the billions are a few standout examples that could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Whether it's a top-grade mint state coin or a unique error, this coin deserves a spot on your radar. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update on hidden coin treasures. Let me know in the comments if you found a valuable 1995 D quarter, or if you want us to cover another coin in an upcoming episode. Until next time, keep collecting, keep learning, and as always, happy hunting.